pundits and petty traders, members of the folk estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We bring you greetings from the Youth Center of Peace and Security, the headquarters of the Mano River Union Youth Parliament Liberia chapter. The MRU-YPLC vehemently condemns the waves of electoral violence and political violence in the MRU, the Mano River Union, specifically in Guinea and Ivory. As you may be aware, violence erupted in Guinea following the announcement of what appears to be a controversial election. On October 24th, 2020. The violence has since led to the loss of many lives and many injured, including young people, as well as the strangulation of the economy and other major sectors of that country. We are also concerned about the troubling, violent and humanitarian situation in the Ivory Coast, which follows what appears to be another controversial election in the Mano River Union. We have received reliable reports from our bordering county structures about the appalling conditions of citizens of Ivory Coast who have crossed over to Liberia. We call on the government of Liberia on international humanitarian protocols to dig deep within themselves and provide the necessary support and temporary shelter to our neighboring brothers and sisters who have crossed over because of the wave of violence. The circumvention of term limits is one of the major serious factors that weakens our democracy and governance in Africa. And this is evading term limits in Africa, reaching consequences for the continent's governance, security, and development. Africa has seen a reversal in terms of norms since 2015. Since that time, 13 countries have evaded or overseen further weakening terms limits, restrictions that have been in place. Africa, as a continent, we have 34 presidential elections scheduled between 2019 and 2021. In roughly one-third of these elections, the issue of leaders challenging term limits has been central. The often controversial means by which these leaders are extending their terms undermine the legitimacy of these electoral processes and are intended to generate violence, thereby resulting to protestation, brutalization, and death of ordinary citizens. As a new constitution passed in the controversial referendum in Guinea, which allowed President Alpha Condé to run for a third term in 2020 and theoretically a fourth term in 2026, there exists a high possibility of violence and security threat. Also, the adoption of a new constitution in 2016 enabled President Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast to contest for the third term in 2020 and theoretically a fourth term in 2025. The lack of effective term limit has resulted in Africa having 10 leaders who have ruled for over 20 years and 2 dynasties that have been in power for more than 50 years. Our country goes to a major midterm election in December. So we call on all parties that are also participating in the Liberian election to take key heed from these neighboring countries' experiences and avoid all forms of violence. The Mano River Union Youth Parliament Liberia chapter forecasts Africa as the next epicenter of civil conflict in the next 10 years if nothing is done to resolve political crucial matters. We are therefore loudly calling on the leadership of the MRU, the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS, the African Union, the United Nations, the EU, and the entire global community to quickly intervene and restore order and stability to Africa's and Guinea so that we can count on stability, good governance, and development within the continent. Long live the Mano River Union Youth Parliament Liberia chapter. Long live the sub-region. Long live Africa. Peace first, peace last. Thank you very much. We will now take questions.
Yeah, we will now take questions from the very many institutions here, and the question should be directly on the issue address within the press?
Yeah. In the midst of these political tensions, what could be your message out to young people who are listening to you?
First of all, I would like to, like the statement suggests, that we want to focus on the humanitarian situation that's currently being developed in Maryland and Guinea counties. We have, first of all, dispatched our county structures to go and monitor cross-border tensions, because we understand that there have been tension with immigration officers and those will-be refugees that have been crossing over the border. So we ask young people so that what they can do at this time is to be able to provide assistance, provide support to other nationals who are crossing into our country. But in the wake of all of these political tension, we call on all the young people of the MRU region to avoid all forms of violence, to be able to use the rightful processes, to use their voice as advocates. And we call on, but more importantly, we call on government to be more tolerant to people who are disagreeing on these issues. Because the situation in Africa has now led to protests. You may be aware that the opposition even opted not to participate in the elections. People are protesting in quarters. Young people are making their voices heard. But the government has since started to use violence. So that's why we want to bring the attention to the international community so that they can come in and pose stiff restrictions on the use of violence against these people. We're going to follow the case continuously, and if there are other measures that we have to call for, we will not relent. We want our young people to do whatever advocacy they are doing in the most peaceful manner, follow the law, and follow their principles that govern the peace and security of our region.
Yeah, my name is Citizen Data, and I'm both for Truth FM. Now, with the growing tensions both in Guinea and Ivory Coast, are you afraid that that could spill over to Liberia?
If you look at our history as a country, when we had wars, it crossed over to all states. For example, the Liberian War, historically we have a Liberian president who is in prison now for his acts in crimes in Sierra Leone. The violent crisis that took place post-election in Ivory Coast before resulted to Liberian situation. I just told you that Ivorians are crossing over to Liberia. So there is a spill effect. Now, what I think we are concerned about right now is to bring our government attention, the international community, so that they can take heed and know that there are spillover effects from this situation in Africa and Guinea. Now, mind you, there have been two controversial constitutional amendments, both in Guinea and Africa. What makes it? I'm very confident that our government will not tread that path, because it's going to be something that is going to destabilize the people around.
Liberia is to go to election December 8th, and Liberians are eager to go to referendum. Now, the situation in Guinea is as a result of some of our provision within the constitution, and Liberia, some of our officials are calling for some amendment in the constitution. So, what would be your own advice and direction? You have the collaborating political parties now calling on the court to place a state order on the issue of the referendum.
You see, referendum or referenda, if they occur severally, are all norms of democracy, but they have to follow the right procedure. And in a state where people feel that there is a legal problem with the system, with the structure, there is a legal problem with the process of a referendum, they are in their best entitlement to move to the courts. All we want the political actors to do is to be able to use the legal means. Like you have said, they are going to court. The court is going to interpret whatever the situation is, and they're going to make their opinion. All we ask is CPP or whoever the actors are is to be, in line with the law, in line with the constitution, follow all the procedures and be civil instead of reverting to violence. That is the objective of the MRUIP. We want to sustain this peace that we have, not just in Liberia, but in the South region. And that's why we are troubled about the events in Guinea and Ivory.
Yeah, my name is Gerald Koinen. I write for Front Page Africa newspaper. You are the youth wing of the Mano River Union. And the two countries you are talking about, they are part of the union. What pragmatic steps you want the Mano River Union to take with regard to intervening and bringing to an end the violence that have erupted in the wake of these elections?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very good question. You see, what we have done in addition to this press statement is to write a letter to the Secretariat. Liberia chairs the Secretariat of the MRU. Ambassador Medina, we said in the MRU Youth Parliament have had a series of discussions over our youth interventions and our plans and aspirations. But we have written a letter to that Secretariat through our chapter in Sierra Leone. We have addressed the Secretariat on our concerns about the wave of violence in Guinea and Ivory. We've not gotten a response, but what we have said in that letter is we want the MRU to be able to, first of all, move into these countries. If need be, use our youth structures so that we go and understand what the situation is. If there are violations of the Constitution, right now, it might be premature to call for placement of sanctions or whatever punishment that it is. It might resort to that level. But the first thing that we must do at this stage, and that's why we call on the MRU to do, is to go and understand the situation and reduce tension in the country. Because there is tension. The opposition is, especially in Ivory Coast, the opposition had a press conference yesterday. They are taking major steps. They are announcing protests all over the country. And when these things happen, especially the way the ruling party, the government, has started to respond to violence, the only thing that is going to happen is the young people who make up majority of this region are the ones who are going to suffer. They're going to walk several kilometers to find safe places. They're going to become refugees in other countries. And so that is our concern. We have told the MRU on how we are availing ourselves. This parliament is a parliament that have trained peace practitioners who can also be part of peace mediation processes. We want the MRU to go and mediate. We want a resolution to the problem so that we do not revert to more humanitarian crisis in the region. Because right now, the people who have crossed over, they don't even have places to sleep. We got information from Maryland this morning that over 200 persons crossed over. And there are tensions between the immigration and the citizens that are coming over. We have COVID-19 restrictions as well. But what we also want to do is to ask the government of Liberia to be able to use the COVID-19 protocols that we have to screen people. But at the same time, these people are suffering. They are running away from violence. So we must be able to not relax the health protocol, but to be able to adjust our health protocol in a way where they can be able to have safe places in Liberia.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Foca TV Live. So I listen to you speak commercially saying that in coming days or in coming years, Africa is certain to be the next epic center of violence on that of our global scope. And taking into consideration Liberia, we saw quite lately the Supreme Court place a writ of prohibition on that of our pending referendum. But other than that, we saw opposition political parties raising issues as well with processes leading to the elections, and they were calling for seem to be placed on the entirety of the elections. But the Supreme Court has rubbished that, and what do the Parliament have to say in regards to that?
So first of all, our institution is mostly concerned about the civility of the state, the maintenance of our civil rights. The court, especially the Supreme Court, we are aware dispenses justice at the highest level in our country. What we want for our political actors to bear in mind and keep knowing consistently is that no amount of process should revert to any form of violence. The Supreme Court has, like you said, put a writ of prohibition on the referendum, and any other processes where political actors feel that they have to make a request or to go to the court and take on a particular case, especially with the elections, we urge them to follow the right procedure. We urge the court to also remain independent, to be independent and hear these cases and give judgment that not just in the interest of any individual, but in the interest of the state. So we ask everyone to remain peaceful and follow the right procedures.
All right, so I think that we have exhausted the question period. At this point, we would like to appreciate you for coming, and we would also like you to make sure that the story go for live. We would like to say a big thank you, and we would like to say a big thank you for coming, and we hope to look up to you, the Mano River Youth Parliament, the goals, and our hands are always open to work with you. And